There is basically an infinite amount of build combinations in Remnant 2, allowing players complete freedom when deciding how to approach each situation they find themselves in. Your skill in Remnant 2 can only go so far, and you'll certainly need your shooting abilities to be complemented with the proper build. I have covered some absolutely insane builds on this channel, with a few being inspired from word to mouth and most I made from scratch, with countless hours of number crunching and testing. Today, I will be presenting you my favorite builds, providing not only great power and survivability, but great enjoyment as well. Along with this, I will be showing you some of the craziest interactions that Remnant 2 has ever allowed, most of which are no longer possible to pull off due to the patches. I will provide the full build at the end of each section for each build that is still viable. If you're interested in hearing me cackle like a maniac while I use these builds, the link to every video will be in the description box down below. Let's begin, starting with my Shock Scythe build. The Scythe is a unique weapon introduced in the DLC, where if you use the heavy attack, you can hit your opponent up to 3 times in one fell swoop. Couple that with Boar, and you can manage to combo the ever-living shit out of them, sometimes proccing Shocker twice in one attack. Not only does this build slap harder than Vasily in a championship, but your survivability will be through the roof, rarely resulting in death. Don't take my word for it, take theirs, and try out the Shock Scythe build today. Moving on, we've got my King's Army build, which is an absolute blast, providing endless damage numbers and unlimited chaos. You cosplay as a king, wielding the Assassin's Dagger and blasting the enemy in the face as your army spams them for, well, a very long time. Your sword summons and dagger swings will proc your shield indefinitely, and your mod summons will rarely have any downtime with your extremely long mod duration. If you haven't run around screaming your head off while charging at your enemy, you're missing out. Defend the king's honor! Yeah! Yeah! Attack! This next build is up there with the strongest of them all, led by Brewmaster's Cork. I've talked about it quite a bit on this channel, but just look at this. Who cares about your curse, idiot? Who cares? Not me! I have a light roll with max damage reduction, and Tainted Blade allows for an increased 100% extra damage on my Wrathbringer. You can face tank anything, roll away, get all your health back, and hit for thousands upon thousands of damage all at the same time. You can get away with playing like absolute ass cheeks. It doesn't matter, nothing matters, just use this build. Let's switch it up a bit by showing you one of the strangest interactions I've ever had. In a previous version of the game, if you fired Prismatic Driver too close to yourself, it would explode indefinitely until you, well, died. I decided to create a build around it with stagger resistance, turning myself into an explosive Gatling laser wielding power armor soldier. The beam did contact damage, and the explosions couldn't knock me over, unless I was unable to proc stagger resistance. Shout out to Bertle for being there to save me when I needed him the most. Some of the craziest builds available today are only possible with the introduction of Ritualist. I put together a build with the Sinister Totem, and, well, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah. And see you later! Oh, my audio! The sheer amount of status effects and damage numbers you'll be outputting will tickle your brain in a very special way. This isn't an extremely unique build by any means, but damn, it slaps hard. It slaps so hard that the environmental objects aren't safe. It slaps so hard, even children aren't safe. Try it out. Sorrow isn't talked about too often within the Remnant space, but the Speedy Sorrow build was incredibly fun and effective. When used in conjunction with Top Heavy, you can get double effectiveness from it after using the mod, creating the hardest hitting crossbow you've ever seen. Along with that, you can dip and dodge out of any situation and not have to do so panically because your health and DR is plenty high. Turn yourself into Sonic the Hedgehog and send your opponents to the Shadow Realm with this build. A lot of people use Enigma for its ability to clear mobs in a wide area without having to worry too much. In conjunction with Index of the Scribe, it becomes one of the best mod Weakspot damage sources with the ability to absolutely melt whatever boss dares to challenge you. So long as you get one tether to land on the boss, any subsequent tether will increase the damage and count as Weakspot damage. The damage hits even harder if one tether is connected to the environment. Just look at these numbers, are we kidding? This is the way Enigma was meant to be played. Snip said it best when he said, "This build is like ordering a firing squad on an enemy and then sitting back and relaxing." There was a time when I created the most unique build you've ever seen in Remnant 2. It was so unique, in fact, that Gunfire Games eradicated the possibility of ever using it again. We will take this moment to appreciate the beauty of spamming Monarch's mod to gain back skills at insanely rapid rates, as well as being able to use Havoc form at the same time as spamming spears. It truly is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Rest in peace, my sweet, beautiful warrior. If you thought Prismatic Driver was busted earlier, check this shit out. Someone brought to my attention a while back that Prismatic Driver's explosion would proc if you could sustain a constant stream of bullets and have it as that particular weapon's mod. It was a cool interaction, and my further testing resulted in using it with Sparkfire Shotgun. Because it's the only weapon with an open mod slot and innate damage over time, all you need to do was mark a target for death by shooting them, and they would start exploding. This too is now fixed, but it's important that we never forget about its memory. Have you ever wanted to teach the Pan how to dance? Lucky for you, I have the perfect build. I've heard about modcast speed getting capped recently, but I truly don't know to what extent, as I recently used this build and it felt great. This build takes Blood Draw and Ring of Spears and turns it up to 11, allowing you to go absolute sicko mode on any and all life forms. Your spears can make quick work of larger enemies, and your blood draw can take groups and completely fucking embarrass them. Sometimes, your weapon will shoot twice right after you use blood draw. Also, you can pull enemies into the water. Now! Yeah! This was a 10 out of 10 experience, and I can't recommend it enough. Sidewinder is an incredible skill, and Stagger is often overlooked, so I decided to mash them together with great efficiency. Twisted Arbalest makes quick work of any enemies you find along the way, and its model knocked them on their asses. Abyssal Hook finally gets its moment to shine too, as you can stunlock enemies, including certain bosses. He gets so mad, dude! Oh my god. Ready? Just 3 hits! 3 hits and he starts going into his next lines! He's pissed! This build also takes advantage of bottom feeder with Sure Shot, obliterating anything unlucky enough to be on the other side of your barrel. You're gonna be surprised at how good this build feels. When it came to experimenting with Repulsor, I felt that it worked best with a Trickster-type build. I was right on the money with that, as your decoys and guard dog will confuse the ever-living shit out of the enemy as you take them out of the real world and into the Shadow Realm. There's a large focus on mod duration, and you can slow and or freeze enemies for as long as you'd like, turning you into the king of crowd control. There's a level of satisfaction that you'll feel as you dice your enemies with precision, and it's unlike anything I've ever felt in Remnant 2. Do yourself a favor, and check out this build. Atom Splitter was well known for working with Boar, and I put it to the test, and it didn't disappoint at all. Certain bosses are easy to pull this off with, and others take a bit of work. Regardless, there is no better feeling than lining everything up perfectly and doing this. Yeah? Yeah! Ooh! Bitch! Here's the build. Don't miss out on this. When Remnant 2's first event rolled out with brand new mutators, there was a funny little bug that made your summons a bit too powerful. Let me show you.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely. Huge plays. Close call. Nightweaver hard. Nightweaver really difficult.
Yeah, those were some good times. If you thought that was some crazy shit, check out this crazy shit. There was a short period of time where Energized Net Coil was doing a little too much damage, and by a little too much damage, I mean... You can do nothing! I feel bad for those who will never know what it's like to kill Legion in less than 5 seconds, and be able to bully a Metal Kaula by actually shooting it, and not its heart. The honorable mention for my favorite build to use in Remnant 2 lies with this 50% health turret swinging build. Trademark 310 let me know about mutators synergizing with your turret, and I wanted to make a build dedicated solely to that. What I created was a nearly invincible one-hitting machine, terrorizing every biome in Remnant 2, turning into a power armor freak who chases his enemies with the intention to stick his turret up their asses. There's an incredible amount of survivability, and you can consistently hit for over 2,000 or more damage per swing. It's as ridiculous as it is overpowered. It's insane how this isn't my favorite build. The only reason it's not my favorite build is, well, because this is my favorite build. When you first get the flail, it tempts you with steadfast so you can spin forever, but I came up with a better idea, focusing on removing the enemy's ability to stagger me and equipping Tainted Blade. With these changes, you can easily get an extra 100% damage if you play your cards right. As you can imagine, this is the most hilarious way to experience Remnant 2, completely negating the enemy's ability to do, well, anything. Seriously, look at me stand in the ring with Sunken Witch. How about the root enemies on Root Earth? What about these guys? What about Bruin? What about the Ravager? Nobody can do anything to you. You just spin and win. And this was such a gratifying experience. I just want to thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. I hope this video proves to be a great resource for exciting and efficient builds, as well as a little bit of a nostalgia kick at all the wacky things that have happened since the launch of Remnant 2. If you enjoyed everything, please make sure to like and subscribe, as it helps a great deal with the algorithm. Thank you guys again, and have a great rest of your day.